Welcome to Kind of Adulting. My name is Simone, and I'm joined by my two friends, Jordan and Elise. We've known each other since middle school, high school-ish, and we're taking on our early 20s together. In this podcast, we hope to share our daily challenges, funny stories, and overall experiences living in big cities and taking on post-grad life. Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Kinda Adulting.
Whoop whoop.
What?
Decided to switch it up this week, you know. That old one's getting a little... How are you guys?
Good.
I'm pretty good.
I feel like it's finally fall. So excited.
I'm actually excited for fall too. I'm not usually excited when cold weather comes though.
I know. I'm still not back, Jordan, but when I do return, I am pushing. I'm saying another week now, so I should be back next week, but stuff planned. But I'm excited. I think we're gonna do a Halloween thing with my friends now, even though it's gonna be like the three of us. I feel that makes me happy.
Yeah.
I can wear whatever embarrassing costume now, and I have to think about like this is enough to get into the club. I can just be like, I'm gonna be weird. It'll be great, and also great because I think COVID, no little kids will come knocking on my door asking for a candy. That's also good.
I don't think they would.
I'm not excited, but I'm not. I feel like because my plans, I don't have plans anymore. Like literally, I'm going to this weekend. I have no plans, and I have plans all these other weekends. And I feel like because it's cold, now my friends aren't gonna do anything. And then no one wants to host anything. And so, yeah, I'm not excited. Mm-hmm. But hey, not to rain on y'all's parade. You guys have a great time down there in DC. I'll watch vicariously. But we wanted to play a game because this week's episode is kind of centered around, you know, a lot of our binge watching. But we're going to talk about girlfriends. And so I thought that we could like play a game where we define who we think each other, like who we relate to the most within girlfriends. And so we're going to let, you know, for each person, you're going to let the other two co-hosts decide who you are. And then you have to say whether you agree or not. And then who you really think you are if you disagree.
I think we should like quickly write it down like on our phone apps or like in a note so that we can just show each other so we don't change it as we start talking.
Oh, I already know exactly who y'all are.
I've already thought about this as well. So I know, but I don't want people to be like, oh, what you said about me, so I'm going to change it. Nah.
I have the same.
I feel like we should start with Jordan because she's actually the easiest.
I'm the easiest?
Wait, so wait, no, I thought we were going to go, okay, wait, Jordan's going to tell us? Whatever. Go ahead.
No, I was saying you and I tell Jordan.
Oh.
And then she'll tell, like, and then her and I will tell you, and then...
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have to write it down just because I feel like I already know too, but... Well, who do you think she is, Elise?
Lynn. Easy.
Yeah, okay, I was going to say, I definitely think she's Lynn. Y'all don't know this, but Jordan be leaving cups of water out on her counter because she says that, like, something like with the light... And then it's like harvest light.
Water.
Oh, it's moon water. Yeah, she left a cup of water out when
you drink it after.
Yeah,
when she came to New York. Yeah, she left that water out.
It's supposed to make you rich or something.
No, it's just it's supposed to recharge. You charge your moon water. Actually, it's a full moon tonight, so if you want to put some water outside.
I need some stuff done.
I do like rituals and stuff.
I need to leave the cup of water out and then wake up in the morning and drink it.
No, but okay, I didn't drink it. Like you can incorporate it in like tea and stuff like that. But what I did is I used it. I like washed my not wash my body.
Oh
like,
no, you did not.
I poured it over my body. Okay, it was in a mason jar. It wasn't like uncovered.
Wait, but was that the right step though? Like I have to leave it out all night?
Yeah.
So you poured.
Okay. I'm just making sure I want to follow it correctly.
Yeah.
You poured lukewarm water on your body.
It was actually kind of cold because
that's worse.
I think that makes it worse.
But it's supposed to awaken you and awaken your spirit, and you're supposed to be like you're supposed to do intentions with it. Yeah. So y'all gotta look this up. I can send you guys some full moon ritual stuff that you can do tonight. You know, write down what you would like to release.
I'm not
this
burning
Aries
anything
full moon.
outside. You know, I don't go outside by once every 2 days.
That's fine. Well, usually you have to burn the piece of paper that you write it on, but you can do it over your sink. You don't have to do it outside.
I don't think I was burning anything, but okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll put in my Bath and Body Works candle after I burn this. Maybe it'll burn with it. But Jordan, you are like Lynn, but you also aren't like Lynn in the way like you're not like
needy and dependent.
Like you would not like be like, you know, living in someone's house for like that long.
I
just
would
like
not.
Chilling
Ever.
Or the fact that she just, you know, I'm still in season 1. I just finished season 2, but like her like lack of direction, you know, like
Mhm.
she's like kind of like, I'm just going to like, you know, day by day. I feel like that would drive you crazy if you didn't have like
Yeah.
security.
I feel like I'm kind
Well, okay, I feel like you kind of are like that a little bit. Not that you lack direction, but like that you are very intelligent in the sense like you are good at different things.
Mhm.
You know how like we always talk about like being gifted and you're good at all these different things. So then you struggle to figure out like
what's the specific
what.
one.
Yeah, I feel like you relate in that aspect too, though.
Yeah.
Not that you're like directionless, but like, you know.
I feel like I'm a mix between Lynn and Maya though.
I don't know if I see Maya like that. But
I
mean,
feel like I want to be. Well, okay. When I was watching the show when I was younger, I wanted to be Maya, but not like in the making less money than the rest of them. Maya.
Yeah.
But
yeah, like her attitude and all that. Yeah. Okay.
Next person. Who's next? Elise.
Yeah, let's do Elise.
Okay. You guys say who you think I am?
Yeah. Well, I already know. Do you know?
Well, I would say Joan and then a mixture of maybe Joan and Tony a little bit.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what I was
thinking. Like, yeah, she likes Tony. You know, she likes her.
I like Tony too, but still.
But
I'm just saying in general, like I would take that a little bit like, because you know, Tony ain't my favorite person, but she likes Tony. So yeah, I mean, I definitely see more of Joan, a little bit of Tony though, like with the like kind of bouginess, you know?
Yeah.
Well, not even bouginess. I don't even know. Is Tony bougie? She's like different level. She's not like, yeah, okay.
I can see Tony in the fact that she like Elise is like, oh, I don't do this. Oh no, I can't do that. I can't be doing this. Like
no
that.
cabins.
But I was gonna say Joan.
Yeah, I do say Joan. I've been watching the season 1 and I'm like, oh my god, like that is me. Like just Joan and her. I think I'm not like Tony in the way that I am not confident in men like that. The fact that she's like, I'm gonna throw like men to the next, you know, before her heartbreak. But she's like, I'm gonna keep all these men. Like that would literally drive me crazy. Like I'm not that person. I'm not that confident in that area of my life. But I do feel like Joan and her like her big fear in season 1, you know, about like if she's gonna, you know, not be married by 30 and all that and like have kids, like that is me, that fear drives me all the time, that I'm gonna be alone and not have kids by I'm 30. And I'm very much about goals and like setting timelines and like, so I definitely see myself becoming Joan and that being like, oh my god, I don't have a husband, I don't have like my kids at 30 and freaking out. And then also, you know, like I'm a people pleaser, so like I will do things and like please people, and that kind of leads to Jones in my eyes, and I can definitely see that in myself as well.
And
but I'm definitely like,
go ahead.
Yeah, no, go on, Jordan.
And with like the planning parties and all the like weird games and stuff, that's definitely.
Yeah.
When she tried to plan Maya's wedding, I'm like, oh yeah, like I'm like, I would have had been like, say less. You want me a Google document plan for your wedding? No problem. You even need to be at the wedding. You may even be there. I can plan it for you. Don't even need to show up. I can take your place. Easy peasy.
And
but yeah,
also, go ahead.
I was just saying, like Joan, definitely watching season has really like showed me like kind of my internal fears come to life about like me in like 5-6 years, because the idea of just not being where you want to be and always trying to chase a goalpost that may always be moving is something that I think I see in myself, because even by 25, I'm like, 25 is gonna be my adult year. And I know that I shouldn't be saying that because it's like toxic for me, but like still, like I'm gonna be hurt at 25 if I've never had like a real relationship or feel like I'm not where I need to be, you know, career wise. And that would show you out. Also, because me and my coworkers have like a similar relationship, I think, with William and her and Maya. Like my coworkers and I, like, we're cool. We have like little quirky adventures and fun stuff like that. So I see like my work kind of represented in her life.
Yeah.
And like for those who are further along in Girlfriends, when Joan realizes that like she really doesn't like her job and she's just like, I need to do something that like,
I know. So she starts a freaking restaurant. Like...
I feel like Elise is gonna do something like that.
I've been saying that, but I'm like, I need to change. I can't do it because you know I'm spontaneous. So if I don't want to do something, I'm gonna abruptly be like, I'm done, and not tell anyone. And the next day be like, so this is what I've done.
Yeah, just remember that Joan was like 30 when she did that, so her savings account was probably very fat.
Yeah, but no, I definitely see Tony and her bouginess, but Tony and like her just the confidence with men. I wish.
Oh yeah.
Simone time.
I already know who it's probably gonna be.
At least you go first.
I was
I
gonna
don't
say
think
Maya.
everybody's. Oh really? Okay, never heard that before.
I was about to say Joan and Maya.
Okay.
I looked at it, I thought about it, I was like Maya.
Why Maya? I've never thought of that.
No, I definitely think
I
Maya.
think it's like your witty remarks and stuff like, oh,
Yeah, and maybe
Yeah,
not Joan because it's
personality.
not as the awkwardness. It's more like Maya's like the person that always like. Well, first she's always arguing with people. You be arguing with people, and
Simone's shaking her head. Yes.
and Maya has like is pretty secure in her opinions and beliefs. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like, and she kind of comes to an idea of like kind of I feel like she's like the old soul of the group. Like she's like, y'all aren't about to like push me in any direction. So that's how kind of way I see it. Like after watching season 1, I was like, yeah, I think Maya. Also, Maya should be trying to fight people. We don't have people arguing with people.
And then I see Joan in the sense of like, she's like very established and like career wise. Well, in the beginning, she kind of knew what she wanted to do and like wanted to be like very ambitious and like become senior partner and stuff. I definitely see that like in you too.
Oh well, thanks, girl. Because I don't know if I do. Well, okay, I do. Like, I have the same type of like goals and like, oh, I want to like, get to a high level of leadership. But also a little bit is like, okay, if I have a family, like I might have to sacrifice that job for my kids. Cause it's like, I don't know if I'd be able to like be at work all night when I have like a kid's soccer game all the time,
Maybe
that was Joan anyways.
Maybe that's
she
more
was
like
I know, like I'd have to change my whole career to be home, but I do want to like reach that level, but I don't know if it's like it'll be long lasting,
Yeah, maybe that's more because Maya's like more about season 1 more about her family and like that's more like that like the values that you would bring, and Maya's like I could really care less about like.
No, y'all know me, y'all know I tell y'all all the time that they are gonna be at your funeral trying to replace you at your job. So if you got to take off, you better take off. I mean, I'm not following that right now, but like I be telling people that all the time. So I totally agree. But yeah, I never really watched it and was like, oh, I see Maya. But like if you say that, the way you guys are describing it, I could see. I feel like I always felt like I was Joan, maybe less in terms of like personality wise as much. I don't know. I just feel like I'm her, like maybe appearance wise. Like I don't know if y'all remember I don't know if you remember I posted that picture of her in that green dress and I was like, this is my goal. I want a picture just like this because I just feel like Joan is tall and she's like, I don't know, we just are, I don't know. That's probably a very what's the word, superficial thing, but like and then but like I just relate to her in that sense. I'm like, okay, yes, we are the same.
I feel like neither one of y'all would have people in your house like that.
Absolutely not.
So
no, Elise would.
I would say
yeah, I y'all know I wouldn't.
That's why I feel like I am Joan, because I think about my freshman year and I was like the halfway house. Like my dorm, at the point that I lost it, kind of like when Joan was like, "Everyone get out!" Like I did that one to my friends. I was like, "Y'all gotta get out!" Like I literally have people in my dorm. I would come home and people would be in my room and I wouldn't let them in. Like I'll be like, "How'd you get in here?" "Oh, your roommate let me in." And they'll be eating my snacks. And I love, but I love hosting. So like it's like of nothing to me to host. When people come to my house, like even to visit, like Jordan have never, but like people spend the night, I give them a key because I'm like, do what you wish. Like I come in and go as you please. So I'm like, this could definitely be me. Actually, I'll say I probably wouldn't allow. I probably would let someone live with me, but it couldn't be as long as Lynn. You got to pay something because I would go crazy.
Hell nah.
I have a nice air mattress.
Y'all know
that. When they kicked her out, that would have been me after like a week because y'all know somebody would have done something like, I don't know, left something out that would have pissed me off, and I just been like, okay, I can't do it no more. You gotta go. Like, especially if it's different if I have a roommate. When it's my space, which I am fearful for other people when I get my own spot because I feel like I'm gonna be even more OCD. Because like I can literally control everything. Hell no. My own mama be getting annoyed at me, so can't nobody. But yeah, that was interesting. I feel like we can all find a little piece of everyone. But I feel like they're just relatable characters, like that's why the show was so good. And I think, we'll be able to like relate a lot more when we carry this over into our discussion, because this is a girlfriends kind of centered episode. So you guys stay tuned for that, okay? So as I mentioned, we are trying to like, gear this episode towards girlfriends just because we felt like it was such a relatable show, right? Even though they're a lot older than us. A lot of us have these type of these varying dynamics within our friendship groups. And so first we want to give a shout out to Sean Blacklead just for providing us this COVID care package. Okay, they put Girlfriends, The Parkers, Moesha, 101, Half and Half, and like even the list goes on. I did name a bunch of them, mostly my favorites, which has been a blessing. Like we have been able to watch some of our favorite Black shows. And specifically with Girlfriends, like it's fun taking a trip down memory lane, but like being of age to really understand the things that go on that show. And although like people had their, takes on my girl Joan and Tony and Maya and Lynn, and some were like from this different viewpoint. Some I thought very extreme, which we'll probably talk about. But I think it's been really cool for us to have this type of show that we can really relate to, right? So we wanted to spend some time just talking about like our early 20s and some of the changes that have taken place within our friendship dynamics and structures. I don't know. Do you guys feel like there's any major changes that have happened? Like, when you moved into these big cities and started your adulting lifestyle?
Yeah, I think, me and my college friends aren't like close anymore. And I think, like I see them when I invite them, but I definitely think it's a different dynamic now, like, a year and a half, like outside of like graduation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's sad. Like it makes me sad, but like also, like, choose what chooses you. So that's kind of where I'm at right now with it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like my college friends is like my closest ones. I feel like we're still very close, but it's definitely different being that like we were roommates and now we live like thousands of miles apart.
Mm-hmm.
We started off like, oh, we'll do our calls like once a week, and we do it much less now. But I don't necessarily think the closeness has really changed. I think it's more just about like the proximity that we have to each other, right? Like we could walk down the hall and see each other, or just walk across the dorm, and now it's like I think I saw them once I think I've seen them once this year, so it's just very different than what I was used to.
Yeah, and I feel like so last year, like a year out from college, a lot of my friends still lived here, but like after COVID hit and like leases were up, like a lot of people moved back home. So now like I'm feeling the same thing. Like a lot of my friends don't live close to me. And when they do, like when they come, like it's like a weekend trip, if that, like, so I don't really talk to them that much and like see them that much because I'm not the person to where I'll like have to text people every day. Like I just have my own thing going on here. So like if I think about you, I'm like, FaceTime you, text you, but like I really don't talk to them as often. And like, I'll send them like tweets and stuff, and that's how we pretty much keep in contact, but that's kind of like really it.
Oh my gosh, the social media thing, yes. Like I have group messages on Instagram and Twitter, and that's how it's like if we don't speak all week, we know we're alive because we like send each other different things. Definitely the frequency at which you speak changes a lot, and unless they're like maybe your more intimate circle in your city, like I don't know, a lot of my older friends like I just don't talk to all the time. Obviously still love there, but it's like really weird ways as to like how we communicate now, like very random interactions. Like my mom would be like, did you speak to them, or have you spoken to them lately? I'm like, yeah, they sent me something on Instagram, like da da da. Like that's our way of communicating now. But
not like an actual
I definitely think I think that's what really changes about it.
So I would say, yeah, and I think, with friendships is differently, and I definitely see myself becoming this, but Joan was running a kind of halfway house in her apartment, like having him come over, it seemed like every day, just walking into her house. Like I wish I could do that. But like, how often do you guys see your friends in the city? For me, I love being around people. I try to see my friends, like, we try to plan for like at least once a week. Like, pre-COVID, like, I think if we didn't see each other at least once or twice a week, it was kind of weird, like my core friend group. um yeah, like, but how often do you guys see your friends? That's the same people, like the same three people that I probably would see like at least once or twice a week.
I ain't even gonna lie, like sometimes we go a full week. Not okay, so that's mostly in COVID times. Pre-COVID times, because I typically did the same thing with the same group of people. In the summertime, we're probably together all weekend. And then mostly like in the fall, once it starts to get cold, it's like I don't really see them that much. And now it's definitely like I could go a week, maybe 2 weeks. It's definitely less frequent, but I don't know. Like, I feel like New York really fosters like a spirit of like doing things by yourself. So it's like, unless we're going to maybe a party or something like that, I feel like a lot of us like do a lot of things individually and then we come together for like events. So it just kind of depends on what's going on in the city, you know, maybe if it's been a long time since we've seen each other. So definitely like, I say we try to do once a week, but it definitely goes a little longer sometimes.
I feel like my friends, like Anna, she'll pick us up. So we used to see each other like every week for grocery store runs, like during the pandemic or whatever. But like Joan and Maya, like we all worked together, so it was just like, okay, yeah, we're just gonna go after work or whatever. But like now that I don't work with them anymore, it's kind of like, I'm gonna see you when I see you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
FaceTime you when I can, but and especially as a pandemic, so I'm real funny. So I'm just like, y'all acting a little too to some
Carefree.
of my friends. So I'm just like, I'm gonna see y'all after y'all get a test. But
Right.
otherwise, I don't know. I don't really see them as often. And then like one of my friends just like bought a store, so we're not gonna
My
see her.
girl. Shout out. Hey
Shout
girl.
out to Anna,
Talk about.
but she's the one who has a car, so she'll pick us up or whatever. So I'm not going to see her as often, and then I'm not going to see my other friend Miriam as often either. So it's just like, well, now I really got to go get a job because there's nothing to do.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I like it. Like, I wish, like, like eventually, like, I hope I can have like the communal house. He would just come through. Like, when we went to the city, he could just come through, like, hop off the metro, and like, I'm going to Lisa's house, and just, I would love it. Not every day, but I would enjoy that. I just having people over because I like not being alone. But yeah, yeah, we try, like, if it's not happy hour or something else. But I definitely try to see at least one group of friend or one person outside my apartment, like at least once a week pre-COVID. But I think, that kind of shows the dependency that Joan had. Like, she was dependent upon other people always being around her. And I can admit, actually, I'm much better now, but I would say maybe my first couple of months, I need to be around people. Now I'm pretty secure and being alone a lot of the time. But what do you think of some of the relationship dependencies shown between the different characters? Like, and how do you guys relate to these dependencies? Like, for example, like Joan was very, okay with paying for dinner for, her and Lynn all the time, or buying Lynn stuff, or providing financially for Lynn, and like Tony, would buy expensive shoes for Joan just because presents, and like Joan, accepted that and kind of depended on her to be like, she's going to provide me with these material things. Like, um, how do you guys like relate to those dependencies and those dynamics being shown? Are you dependent on any of your friends for stuff? Is anybody dependent upon you?
Well, I think that we're not dependent people in general, but I think that that's the one side where we kind of can't relate to, only because we don't have the money to be treating other people. I feel like at 30 years old, you're a lot more comfortable. Your savings are stacked up where you can probably afford to buy your friends really nice gifts if you wanted to, especially like your best friend. Like, that's her best friend, you know? But I know personally, I focus on my savings, blah blah blah. I don't have the money to be treating nobody else. Not for real. Like, and I don't. So I can't even imagine having to feed someone every day when my grocery money is really budgeted for one person. Can't imagine it. definitely can't imagine like buying $1,000 shoes and necklaces for my friends either. Not to say that I don't want to, but I'm just not there yet. So I don't know. I found it very interesting. I think that from a 30-year-old standpoint, maybe that's doable. But like for me, I've never related to that part. I'm like, where, like, your money got to be running dry at some point. Like, I don't understand it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like I had a struggle of like people owing me money.
Yeah, because you're a very generous person. And I've recognized that. Like,
yeah. And
I'll
it's
never
kind
forget
of,
where we were out one day, y'all, and like we were getting drinks and stuff, and Jordan's like, "Oh, you want wine? You want some rosé?" And she just bought us all sparkling rosé, and Lisa and I are like,
When was this?
we were out.
At Marvin's. I think
We're like better
in
for
New York.
Jordan
I
than
was
us
like,
because
what?
we
That
ain't
was
got
some
it
good
like
rosé
that.
though.
Like, she's very generous, so
yeah.
I
That
can
was good
see
rosé.
that being the case.
I feel like I'm around people, like, even though like I still worked in retail, I kind of worked around, well, I still like was around people who I made less than. So I just wanted to do these things, and I didn't want them to feel bad about not being able to like pay for things. So I was just like, oh yeah, we can just go. And then like I just wouldn't say anything. I just like pay for it and then just, because like I wanted to enjoy it and I wanted you to enjoy it with me. So it wasn't like, oh, like, because I've been in the position where I'm like, oh no, it's okay. And like I really wanted to, but I just have the money to. And who wants to ask like, oh, can you pay for me? Like that's kind of not embarrassing, but like you get embarrassed by it. So I'm just like, oh yeah, like I got into that mindset because it's just like I may have it, I may not, but like at the end of the day, it's what I want to spend my money on. So to that point, but then I had to really dial that back because people started taking advantage of me.
I was just about to say that. I respect that, right? Because I've done that before, right? Like, I remember spring break, senior year, my best friend, like, her parents were not trying to let her go. And they were like, you don't need to spend your money like that. And I remember our other friend, we were like, look, you'll pay your money. Like, we'll pay half and half for you to come. Like, we just want you to come. And like, we were willing to do that. And I think we did put a little bit towards it, but it was like, we just want you here. And it's like, when I feel like you want someone's presence, you'll do those type of things. That's not a big deal. But I do think when it becomes a frequent thing and you're not getting anything back, that's definitely like being taken advantage of, like there's a fine line.
Yeah. And then to the point where people are just like, oh, Jordan can pay for it. Like, whoa. Do not volunteer my money.
That is a problem.
Do not volunteer my money.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I do feel bad though. Like I think about sometimes like I like wish I think I am a generous person, but sometimes I feel like I should be more generous. If that makes sense. Like I feel like I should treat people to more to things. Like even like for example, like if like my coworker is like if I was like back at work per usual and like like she like I was like passing a store or something and I know she like candy, like I feel like I should probably just buy her the candy, and like without her even asking me to, like, okay, I know like so and so's gonna want this. Or my Starbucks, I'm going to a good example. If I went to Starbucks during work and I know my coworker probably like if I ask her she's gonna say no, like I should just come back with like her venti whatever for her that I know she always gets. Like I feel like I should be doing that more, and I don't. Like I would be like, okay, I'm gonna get my Starbucks and then come back to work, And if someone did it for me, that's really nice, and I'll try to pay them back, or they just don't accept the money. And I feel like I should be doing that more. I feel like maybe I should like treat people who are younger than me, my friends who come in town who are college age. Like I probably should pay for their dinners or what have you, and I don't. And I feel like, is that just being like cheap? Or like even for my birthday, like should I have paid for everyone's brunch that day? Like stuff of that nature. Like what point do we become like, okay, like I need to treat people because I like being generous, like being generous with my time, but like I'm like, what point should I be generous like monetarily as well?
Well, I think like for different people that shows differently, but like I get that because my parents, I'll say something and my parents be like, "Oh, you're treating them." I mean, like, who told you that? Like, am I supposed to do that? And I'll be like, am I supposed to? Like, my mother and my dad are coming into town next weekend. Don't even want to talk about that, the dangers. But like, my mom's like, are you treating them to dinner?
Who got money?
I thought, like, yeah, I do. I have treated my parents. Like, like when I was home, I would pay for dinner or something. But like, that was because I was home, not paying bills.
Yeah.
A girl got bills to pay. So I don't know. I feel like it shows differently because you know, it can vary in terms of what you're buying and who it's for too. Like, you know, I think it's just up to you of, oh, I have a few extra dollars. Like, you know, for example, if I'm going to Starbucks or something, I'll call my roommate and be like, do you want anything? And I don't expect her to pay it back, right? Like sometimes she'll pay it, but I think it's more of that. Like, I think I'm the type of person, like, if you need me to treat you, I'll treat you. And then I don't ask for that money back. Like, I know that if I'm in that position, you got next. So that's how I kind of show it. I think give me another year or two and then I'll be able to start treating people to dinner and stuff. But I also think I'm just a frugal person. So I don't spend my money recklessly on myself. Y'all know I don't eat out like that anyway. So for me, it's like, if I don't eat out on my own dime from what do I look like paying for somebody else to eat out, you know? So
yeah. And I see that a lot. And I like in the show, I thought about that, like, whoo, like, should I be like covering, like, if I force somebody to come to dinner, like, come to dinner with me, should I just like, you know, pull out my wallet and like cover it? Like, maybe I should start doing that a little bit more because my parents will, but like at least
right. And that's where we have to see that difference.
At least won't. And hopefully I get to that point because I like being generous. I think, you know, I like one lesson that I remember, I will never forget, one of my really early church lessons that a lot of them I forgot, but one I did remember was that if you lend someone something, don't expect it back. And so like, I want to be at that point where I'm able to do that freely and not have any qualms about that. And because girlfriends, they were picking up tabs left and right.
Right. Well, and they say don't lend money you don't have. So I ain't gonna lend it. Okay, that's when you know when you got it and you can do it.
But even still, I don't even buy shots for people rounds. I don't even buy rounds for people. I'm like, let me get my shot and walk away.
And I think it, like I said, it just shows in different ways. And I do agree, like, my birthday, I remember we took Ubers downtown and back uptown. And I remember calling my mom, like, those Ubers were $50 each. Like, is it okay if I request the money from everyone? And my mom's like, it's your birthday. You don't request any money from them. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, hard. But at the same time, it's true. Like, there's certain times when you just have to, like, okay, I invited these people out. We took a car down. Like, I cannot expect them to pay for that. And it's my birthday, right? Like, I don't know. Yeah. It's just, there's going to be moments. And I think it only increases the more money you have, like the more free money. But right now we're still fresh.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And I feel like whenever I give money to people or like I pay for somebody, I don't ever really like need it back, you know, like she needs to hurry up and send me this money because I need to pay for, like, it's never been that situation for me because I spend stupid money on stupid things all the time. So it's just like, what if I don't buy something off of Amazon for one day, like, you know,
right?
So that's why I never. And then I'm always just like, you know, been able to pay my bills and stuff. So it's just like at the end of the day, like everything's taken care of. If you didn't get that money back, so what? You know, you would have spent it on Uber Eats or something else, you know, that you probably didn't even need in the first place. So it's just like, you know, you have to kind of give and not, and you know, like not expect it back, like what you were saying.
Yeah, you'll get it back at some point if they're your friend. I don't mean get it back like in the same sense, but you know, something
it'll be repaid to you.
Exactly. And you shouldn't be looking for it, but you know it'll happen, especially with your group. So
yeah, I think my guilt comes back to like I'm comfortable. Like most of the time by me, I usually make like a little bit more than them. So I feel sometimes like my friends, people around me, like I should treat, and that's when I feel guilty. Like, you know, if it's an Uber, I usually just cover it. So I'm like, let me not even. I might invite like even like, you know, requesting unless it was like, you know, more than like $5-6, right? Like I got it. But I do feel guilty, like, man, like I know I make more than them. Like I should just cover this dinner, even though they're not going to ask me. Like, should I do that? And that's where I feel like it gets murky. But I think, you know, like moving on to like, I think girlfriends talk a lot about, you know, adult friendships and conflicts per se. And I think something that we don't, you know, Insecure did a really good job this season, I think. But I think Black women friendships are not always shown in a way that, you know, breeds like positive conflict resolution. And I think, you know, but watching Insecure, people don't talk about friend breakups and like friendship conflicts. I think there's a lot of, you know, culture around like relationships and like how to deal with romantic people messing up, but like not as much with like when your friends are going through a rough patch, like how do we fix that? I think you're kind of told as a child, like, oh, friends are friends, like and your friends aren't working out, drop them. And I think that's where people can really, feel alone, or feel like they don't have, like, people around them if they don't work on it. Like in boyfriend, girlfriend, you guys will work on it,
Yeah.
but friendships are kind of like, that person's not working out for me right now. I'm through, I'm done. And that, I think that's something that we should work on, like, as a society, especially for Black women. But I think, how can we relate some of the conflicts on this show, I think has been really important. And, Joan and Tony had a rough patch in their friendship season 1, talking about toxicity and, like, stuff that they needed to really address from childhood. And what ways do you guys, struggle to deal with or confront rough patches in friendship as an adult?
So I'll say, I guess, I don't know if I've had too much conflict in my adult friendships. And I think I'm the type of person who it takes a lot for me to let go of friends. I think I choose pretty well. Like, I choose friends pretty well. So I haven't had to let go of too many friends. I think it's been like 2 friends in my entire life, and it, varied in age. But I also think I'm very bad at handling conflict. I'm not a very confrontational person. And so I feel like a lot of times in a lot of my relationships, I just will not address things. Okay, like if it's my man, yes, I address them, y'all, because it's a little deeper. But when it's like my friends and stuff, yeah, like I don't think I'm that good like at addressing things. I'll kind of harbor it, and eventually like I'll let it go. But I don't know, I'm not good at it. So seeing, I guess, some of what happened on the show and how good they were at calling people out, I feel like is actually something that I want to get better at, and not in a negative way, but like addressing things when they happen and saying like that bothered me. Like I'm just not quite good at that yet. So I don't know, but I feel like it's important, especially at this age, because we're so busy that you might not talk to your friend for a while and you don't know like if there's a conflict or not unless you address it, I guess. I don't know. That was probably a really bad ramble, but
No,
yeah.
yeah, it makes sense. But I feel like
No, go, Jordan.
I feel like even with like family and like friends, like long-term friendships, like that's kind of grouped together for me, because like I kind of really don't talk about the issues that I have until like everything is built up, and then it's just like at that point it's kind of like rage. It's just like
It's
you
like
haven't done this and this.
Yes, that's me.
And then like you're just like, what are you talking about? I just like, haven't you seen this the whole time? Have you been treating me wrong? And it's my fault to an extent, because I'm not saying this, I'm not vocalizing this. It's one thing if I'm not heard, but if I'm not saying anything at all, it's just like it's like building up in my head and everything, and I'm just like counting all these different strikes against them.
And then you explode, and
and then they don't
I'm the
even have a
exact
chance
way.
to like
to like
try to
the issue.
Yeah. And I realized that early on, like in well, now I do, but like in early college years, because just like these are new people, so I don't know them. We didn't grow up at the same like place or whatever. We didn't have the same like perspectives, point of views. So it's just like, okay, like I accept you having like different points of views, but it's just certain things that I take like offensively that they don't know. And I was just kind of like, oh no, see, she cut it off.
Yeah.
Talk about
And then it's just like, and I guess because it's just like you haven't known them for that long. So for me, it was just like, well, I mean, I really don't need them, because I have like my childhood friends, like my high school friends, like they've never done nothing like this, and I know them for how many years, and you're doing this in the beginning of our friendship? Oh no. So like at that point, it was just kind of like, it was easy for me to cut off people, because it's just like, I mean, I can meet new friends. I already have friends. I don't really need you. But then, like, I think back about it, and I'm just like, man, maybe I should have, like, at least given the opportunity to be better people, or, like, treat me better,
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think that's important.
But it's just something, like, you learn.
Yeah, I hold friendships, higher than romantic relationships. And I think it's because, like, I think you work with friends, you go with people, you go through patches. And what I've learned, like, especially in this year, like, first of all, like, I've been in college, last of college, like, not all confrontation is negative. And I told Jordan all the time, like, coming in with an intention to conversation is really important. I think coming in what you want to get out of it is very important. But I see a lot of times with Black women, like people our age, like we're told to cut people off, right? We're told to be like, okay, 1 strike, 2 strike, we done. Even though you may even never even explain how it hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
And then either you have all these friends who have no idea how you feel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And think that you are, you know, unattached or not emotionally available.
Mm-hmm.
And or you have all, or you have all these friends who just think that you just, don't care enough, right?
Yeah.
And so that's something that I think that, like, for example, bring it back to the show, like, so long season 1, so bear with me, but like when Joan had a problem with Tony, right? She was like, that hurt me. She could not.
Season 1, Jordan. She don't know.
I don't know. Yeah,
problems. But like,
no, but they actually end their friendship.
Oh, really? But sometimes, I mean, I know that, but like, I want to like watch it myself. But like, I think in the season 1, seeing that play out and seeing the fact like Joan was like really struggling, in a way. Like, I go to therapy too, so my therapist like will get on me about things that I need to do with people. Is her struggling to vocalize how her friend hurt her because she feels that friend is no longer going to be her friend after. Or she feels that her feelings are going to keep her captive. And that is something that can really mess people up, because you will take friendship advice from Twitter, and Twitter will tell you to cut off your friend of 15 years because they didn't do something to you, but you never were able to give them the grace to answer back or respect yourself enough to answer it. And so, or I see a lot of people are like, oh, I don't even care. And you're like, okay, well, don't you think like you would care if your man did that though? Like, you would care if your, boyfriend did that? Like, you get what you put in, So I think you put in vulnerability, you put in, honesty, you put in compassion, you'll probably have strong friendships coming out, because you want to have new friends every 5 years.
Yeah.
And I think if people don't learn to treat friendships like relationships, and like learn to be like, you would not be as nonchalant in your friendship as in relationship. Not be saying they both shouldn't be hard, but be active, call people out on things, like understand people are probably at the end of the day just trying to love on you. And that's all you can really do. Like, I think with my friends, like in the day, like I just want to be a better friend. So like, I want to be better friends with each other. So we need to make sure we learn how to communicate. And I think I've done that. Like, my best friend and I, like, we are light years apart in communication. Like, since like we've been friends since we were 2. And I feel like this year we had tiffs, we had battles, but like we were able to sit and talk through it, understand both perspective. And that was really helpful to move forward. So there was never any love lost.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think like that's why I was saying there are a lot of well, I don't think I said that, but there's a lot of aspects of Joan that I relate to, and that's like one of them. And like trying to be better about like talking to friends and even just other people who I have relationships with about like something that bothered me or the issues I've had. And it's interesting though, because like a lot of my long-term friends, obviously growing up, you have had your tiffs, you've had your growing pains, but it's like Jordan was saying, it's more of, it was built up. And then one day I was like, I've had enough of this, whatever. But it's important to not always let that be like the result, because like you guys are saying, if you don't address it, at the time, you're not really allowing that person to fix the problem, or like to even attempt to, right? So even though I'm not quick to cut off, I will say like, being that I wait for a while to address things, and sometimes, yeah, it can build up to the point where like I'm feeling a certain type of way. I don't even know why I'm feeling that type of way, because this shit happened. Because the whatever issue happened a while ago, So I don't know. I think it's important to be upfront, and definitely something everyone should work on. I mean, maybe some people are too confrontational, so they need to pull back a little bit, like, people who just are naturally like that. But I think it's definitely important to hold your friends accountable,
And then I think what like Elise was saying, like giving people grace, because it had to, well, okay, in the pandemic, I have a lot of time to think. So I'm thinking about my relationships and stuff, and I was just like, I feel like I kind of don't think of people as like human, like able to make mistakes. Like, I know people make mistakes, but that doesn't mean I have to be around for them to make mistakes. Like I kind of feel like people should always be at this like unattainable standard, and like even I sometimes don't even meet that for myself. So it's just like,
Yeah.
Jordan, how can you put this on everybody else and want to cut off everybody else because they don't meet this certain standard, and it's unattainable for real, because like people are going to mess up, but you have to forgive, and then you have to move past it. Like you have to progress, but like sometimes people don't be progressing, and that's where you got me really messed up, because then you'd be mad if I gave you a chance and you didn't progress. So that's the hump that I'm trying to get over now. But like you really have to give people grace.
Yeah. And I think for me, like my big thing is like choosing what chooses you. Like sometimes I will hold on to people who are obviously showing they're not choosing me the level that I want to be chosen at. And like friendships, like people are not meeting me in my energy. People are not bringing positivity to me, and I will hold on to them because I'm like that. Like no, like we've been friends. Like we had these memories, and that's usually something that I struggle with is like letting that go, because I can confront all day long, but if a person that's just who they are, I'm just being mean to them by always being like, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. Or like, and we're not being good friends. It's like, when do I realize like this person is just not for me? And I think that's like really hard in your 20s when you have college people who like, some of my college friends, like I tried so hard after for them to be their friends. Like I truly like put my all into it. And like those people were not choosing me. And I remember I saw this tweet that really kind of stopped me like last year from stop texting this like same person who was just did not seem interested in being my friend, but I was so forceful to hold on to them, because I'm usually the person in my friend group, like I would say, I've been training a little more recently, that was always a reacher outer. I was always the person that made sure that I reach out to that person that I included in their life. And like lately, taking a step back and see who's actually reaching out to me, who actually wants to be around me. And that's really, really enlightening. But I saw a tweet that really stopped me, which was like, stop watering plants that don't water you. And literally after that, I didn't text that girl back ever again. I kept texting her, and she would text me. I would text her, she would never text me back. I would, like try to, you be engaged with her, all that, nothing. It's someone that I was really close to all throughout college, and it hurt so deep. And I was questioning like, what's going on? She hasn't said anything. Like, what's this and that? Like, and I had to realize choose what chooses you. And that's hard for me. I struggle with it like through and through. I think even in season 1, you see that like you see it with people like in their friends. Like sometimes like Lynn felt like she wasn't being chosen by Joan, even though Lynn perception, like sometimes you have to choose people who chooses you, or you will find yourself, in like uneven relationships, friendships, and that just sucks in your adult ears, because you're like, I'm busy too. Like I have stuff to do too. If I'm putting time into you, if I'm putting energy into you, and you can't meet that when we're all busy, like that hurts. But I can't do that. Like it's not college. Like I'm putting in effort. I'm putting in sacrifice to be here.
So yeah, I mean, I think that this show gives us a lot to talk about, especially being in our young 20s and seeing people like, about 10 years older than us, and seeing their journey, like seeing where they're at that age. And, many of us have our own aspirations and see ourselves in a certain place, in our 30s. It gives us a lot of talking points, right? But I think the biggest, or the overarching theme of that show is really just like, your girls, like, especially the ones that you would probably consider to be like sisters, right? Like you're going to go through things. You have Tony, Joan, they literally stopped being friends for a while. They eventually came back together, obviously, but your friendships are a relationship. And even though I don't think that they should be too demanding or too stressful, like you are going to have paths. We're all taking life together, so it's important to recognize that they're human, like Jordan said, and like that they make mistakes, and kind of be willing to be there for the long haul. I only support like removing toxic people from your lives, but like if your friends are messing up at some point, like it's okay to give them some grace, right? And then I think lastly, that show just shows us kind of like how important your friends are in your life. Like you might not always have a man, but you always got your friends, right? Like you might not always have a close family member, but hopefully you have your friends. Like, I don't know, your friends are, they're important for your life. So, take care of those relationships too, I guess. And that was all from Oprah Jr. We are going to move on to our listener questions, not letters today. So stay tuned.
As we are approaching month infinity of staying in the house, we've really been enjoying using the Anchor app to record our podcasts. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. And let me tell you why. Number one, it's free. We don't got money for that. We are all recent grads out here. Times are rough. Also, there's free creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will even distribute your podcast for you. So it can be heard on Apple, Spotify, many more platforms as well. You can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. Get you some coins for Uber Eats. That's what I usually use my money to, but it's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. To get started, download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get your podcast on and poppin'.
So, first, I'm gonna throw some shade at our listeners because y'all have not been submitting enough listener letters. We are running out, so y'all need to do a better job.
Yeah, we need some new ones.
Get on the A-ball, okay? So instead, we're gonna do a listener question. And this one is from Lanisha, and she says, "What are your thoughts on dating someone with a child?"
No.
I cannot play stepmommy to nobody child. I'm sorry.
Okay. I thought, what were we listening to something we were talking to someone about, and it was like, as you get up in age, though, you have to like entertain that idea. So, in your 20s, I think you could say no. But if you were 30 and you were like, I don't want no kid, nobody wants no kids, be like, well, sis, like, you're getting up there in age.
Yeah, a lot of 30-year-olds have children.
You take an L.
I'm definitely not
buy
for
some
that
diapers
at all right now. But at 27, I think you just can't have this idea in your mind like, no, you can't be like literally disgusted by someone with a child because you're 27. Okay, people don't live life, but at 23, ain't no way in hell I'm taking care of you guys, baby. And when I want to call you at any time in the night or, morning and say, come over or let's go here, I need you to be able to drop what you're doing to come. Unless you with your mama or your friends, whatever, you got plans, you should be able to come. It should not be no, I got to take care of Lily. We are 20.
Who's named their child Lily?
That is what this time is for. Okay, so yeah, I'm not for it. Unless you just absolutely meet some man and you fall in love with him and that's just it for you and you want to get married, that's different. But if you really trying to enjoy your young 20s, I just don't think that's a responsibility you should have to have.
I was reading this article right before this, and this girl was talking about, it's like on the Nicole website, it was about an emotionally unavailable man, but she was talking about how this girl was like, yeah, like my boyfriend, he spent Mother's Day, he wasn't available to hang out with my birthday because he was out of town for Mother's Day, and he wasn't even celebrating his own mother, celebrating his baby mother, with their child. And I'm like, whoo, that would be a different type of maturity level for me.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Like, so what if the child lives with the mother and not with him?
That's usually the case, though, right? And
sometimes not.
Couldn't you just send the mom some gifts? Like, isn't the point of the day for the child to spend with the mother? What do you really have to be there for?
I feel like Mother's Day, I wouldn't want to see my child. This is about
me.
Yeah,
too.
But I think for me, I don't want to have. I'm not trying to be on Real Housewives level beef with the baby mother. I hope me and the baby mother me being crazy. I hope we become friends. I hope we can get our nails done together.
You should.
Yeah.
Because but that's maturity. But for me, I'm not trying to I don't have the energy to be on level beef with you and going back and forth on Instagram DMs. It's not.
Yeah, I don't have time for any Jada, Wada, and whatever that girl's name is.
But with the big moms. I don't care.
I completely agree. And let me rephrase that first part. I feel like I sound a little harsh because I have friends who dated guys too with kids, or I have a friend who's getting married and she's gonna be a stepmother. I think that's great, but I think it's more of if you're ready for that,
Yeah.
If you're like us in your 20s, that's not a responsibility you want. But if you are ready to settle down, go ahead, like full force. Like that's great for you. And I think that's why we can't fathom that right now, because I don't think we're necessarily ready to settle down, but we imagine ourselves being ready to settle down at 27, at 28, right? And so we'd be more open to the idea. But right now, like, if that's not a responsibility you want, don't feel compelled just because like the situation's there. Because it is. It's, you know, like if you're gonna take on that role, it's very important you take it seriously, you know? So
And
also,
they got
kids sneeze on you.
okay.
Yeah, see, that's the whole thing. But also, you got to make sure that the relationship with the baby mama, it's cut
Girl, I
off.
was
They
just
cannot
about
be
to say
doing
that. You better
nothing,
make sure that
spending no
child is above
houses.
like 2 years, 3 years old. My mama always used to say, don't date no man who got no fresh baby,
No, newborn,
because
absolutely not.
there is a chance.
She gonna show up to your door. And what you
And
gonna do?
listen, my
Nothing.
mom, I ain't gonna give too much of my family business away. But you know, my brothers and I have different moms. And all I'm gonna say is that has happened before to her. I ain't got time for it. But you know, she was a lot older. She was in her 40s. She probably could handle that a lot better than my 23-year-old self.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not in the mood. Also, I just think I'm not. I want it about me, and I'm not even like trying to be like. And I realized that actually in my last like situationship, like I want it to be like I want some attention. Like that's where I'm at right now in my life. And if I have a little, if someone has a baby, you got to worry about find that child diapers and not trying to like take me to happy
That's
hour.
what I'm saying. I need all the attention right now. And that's just, we're young and we're selfish. And that's okay. We should be that way, in my opinion. Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
And kids have germs. They be sneezing on
They
people.
do. That's literally, oh my goodness. Okay, so I applied for this job in a school, right? And I was like, but what if we have to go back to school and the children like are there? They're gonna sneeze on me. Like that's my thing. Like, yeah, children are sneezing. Like they don't care. They just at you. What? Like it's a pandemic, and they're not gonna understand. Like,
So I told my cousin her child sneezed on me last time I saw him last year. She's like, come visit. I'm like, no, your baby last year, 13
sneeze
months
on
ago,
me.
sneezed in my open mouth. I will never forget
Can't
that.
really control that. You know, he's too
I
young.
don't forget that. He knew what he was doing. He looked dead. He looked me dead in the eye, and I'm like, till this day, I will.
That's fine.
I'm not.
That's fine if it's your own child, but not my child. And they sneezing on me. Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but people are gonna start having kids. Like I've been thinking about that a lot now. Like, yo, people are gonna start having kids. Like, in like,
No, other people are. And then their kids will be in high school when my kids are born.
I'll be
But
like, yo, you're a
Not
real
high school.
adult. Like, you have like a stepchildren.
A lot of
Like,
people are getting pregnant because of the pandemic too.
being said with that, okay, and I just want
Simone's friend had a child. You know, me dated someone with a child, and like, oh, we're talking to her, and I'm like, yo, you are grown
right,
because I can't fathom.
can't. But I do want to tie that up by just saying, keep this in your mind. There's a lot of women who have had to drop out of the workforce during COVID because they had to take care of their children. And it was like, so say 75% of the women had to drop out, it was like 25% of men. Okay, so keep that in mind before y'all having babies. Make sure you're ready, because
Make sure the father
it
ready
is a
too.
full responsibility. You gotta be teaching these little Negroes now during COVID. Ain't got time or the energy for that. Let me tell you one thing I'm happy about is I don't have no kids right now, because that would be rough.
They be on all like our little like team calls, like mommy, and I'm like, and I was like, oh, you want to see my kid? I'm like, I really don't. Like, I could go
This
on
this
YouTube for
man on my
that.
Zoom call
They
has 6 kids.
this man, I'm saying this person that always do, without a doubt. They're like, oh my god, you want to see the baby? And then I can't say no, like no. So like I can't say that.
Oh
So they turn on the camera, and I was like, and I'm like, listen, if I want to see some child, I could go on to Google YouTube Kids, and I could have some kids play with some toys on there. I'm trying to go back to doing my job or doing something like watching YouTube videos myself. Let's speed this 30-minute meeting up, okay? You have added 5 minutes to the 30-minute meeting that I didn't want to join to begin with. So stop. Also, this is a drag to all the social Zoom calls for work. Leave me alone. I don't want to
I don't
network
have
with
none of
you.
those.
Leave me alone.
But the one I did have is where the guy showed us all his 6 kids under 5. So let's talk about that. But
Ooh,
we
under 5?
under 5.
Ew.
So
I'm
as we
sorry.
promised, they're like triplets and stuff. But as we promised, well, we didn't meet it this time, but we are trying to cut our time down. We are still struggling on that. Y'all see, we like to talk. So you just have to bear with us. But on that note, I'm going to cut us here, okay? Because again, we went over, we trying, y'all. So we're going to skip our advice of the week. Hopefully nobody had any big things. If not, I'll give you the floor. Okay, no? So, yeah, you guys have a great weekend, next week, whatever you want to call it. And I hope you enjoyed, I guess we can call it our little girlfriends check-in, talking about relationships.
Girlfriends.
I really meant to start the episode off like that, but I forgot. So, I don't know. I'll use it again one time. So, yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye. And that's a wrap. Thanks so much for your continued support. Follow us on our social media at Kinda Adulting Pod, and you can anonymously send in your listener letters at tinyurl.com/KA letters. See you next Monday at 12.